Sorry, I am muted. Let me do that again. Astro World! Welcome back to another week of the Hardwood and Astro Turf Talk Show. Peoples, we are here. The bros are here. It's been the first round of the NBA playoffs, and the Hastrobros here, ready to dice it up, ready to talk some basketball. It's been some exciting games going on. Some shockers, but at the end of the day, this is just your first round, and if you want to hear it from nobody else, you can hear it from us today here on the Hardwood and Astro Turf Talk Show. It seems like the man rocking some sports brands, man. One man got the Adidas.
You got already
Man
Adidas, you know
rocking
it's the Adidas.
the Puma.
They go right to
Chewy.
Puma. Go right.
I left my I actually got my Adidas flip flops here next to me. So,
Oh boy,
you know.
2v1. This
Hey,
Andre,
hey.
this Andre. Stop.
Drake coming out on top, it seems.
Hey, well, that means luck on my side tonight.
You man flipping that. Peoples, again, welcome to the stream. If you're in the stream, you already know what to do. Hit that like button for the Astro Bros. So that YouTube could do its thing and we can get this stream out to some other people notifications. Hakeem, it's been first round so far. I know you've watched your team played. How are you feeling going into round 2? Just generally.
Game 2.
Going
Yeah,
into game
game 2,
2. Yeah, going into game 2.
That's tonight.
Alone, 10 o'clock. A little nervous, not gonna lie. When I was watching the game, I won't get too much into
Sign
it.
up
But I
for
was
it?
watching. I ain't try to. I'm gonna try to. At least the first half. It's a late game. That's the unfortunate thing. It's really late. But probably it's gonna start at 10:20 or so, because they always start late.
I don't know why.
First quarter.
It's the West.
Yeah, it's just always start late. So I give probably gonna finish about 12:30, 1 o'clock if it's a really close game. It was tough, man. I was ready to come in stream with all the energy in the world, seeing Lakers. I tell you, and the man get blown out first game. But
Man, it wasn't a blow, man. Don't. Let's speak this up. It wasn't a blow.
they lose
Based
by
on
like
his
12 points.
expectations, I guess.
Yeah, they lose by like 12 points. It was dying close. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it was like 2 players maybe,
ain't
but
30 though.
and 30. But I was wondering what's happening this week because they saw some serious blown out games, and I was like, this is it's not that exciting as I thought it would be. But we've been getting through it, man. We've been getting through it.
Oh, you're right, Vaughn. You're excited. I know your
I'm
team
most
came up.
definitely. Most definitely. I
the
just
first game.
I would say if I had a rate the weekend of the first games of the playoffs, I would give it a 6.5. Reason being, as Hakeem alluded to, they had too many blowout games. I just feel like too many teams seem to be starstruck and then bring it. Especially knowing that this is playoffs.
Mhm.
The Pacers is a good example. Uh, the Heat, to some extent, they made it close in the end of the game. The Mavericks, another example of a team that was like, oh my god,
That's a
here
perfect
we actually
example.
playoffs. Yeah, like we can actually play.
Yeah.
They made it close in the end. The final score didn't depict how bad they were getting demolished. And who else? The Sunday games were the Pelicans and Thunder game was the saving grace for the Sunday games because all the Sunday
Yeah,
games were pretty
they're
much
pretty one-sided.
a blow. Yeah. So um I give it a 6.5 out of 10, but I'd expect going forward that we have some more exciting games. These guys could shake off the nerves. I guess that's what we could put it down as. We had something quite interesting. This is the first time in the last 11 years that all of the home teams won their first playoff, the first game in their series. So,
Mm.
um, uh, interesting, interesting
If
start
you want to
coming
call
out to
it that.
this
Yeah.
weekend. So we'll see how the home teams fare going on for the rest of this week and for the rest of the first round series.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I did watch a little bit of everything, and I would echo some of what you guys said. So I don't really need to get into any details, but let me touch on who lost, of who lose out. I would say, in the playing or for the playing matchups.
Yeah. Well,
Bulls
mhm.
first team, played hard, but like I said, I knew they weren't going to make it too far. Any any first thoughts on that?
Again, I've been preaching the whole season, straight off the bat, preaching the whole season to trade DeMar DeRozan, trade Zach Levine, just break up the team and start fresh. They surprised me I can say for the second half of the season, they did a lot better than I thought they would have. I
Yeah.
still think that my proposal to them is still the same. It's time to just start
Just
fresh.
my team.
It's hard to just be in the middle ground and go nowhere. Like they're pretty much in the Netherlands. They have nowhere to really go if they don't hit the reset button.
Yep.
I don't even think they have an option to actually go all in on anything, to be honest. So they just got to hit the reset button. Kobe White has been a revelation for them. They now have like someone to really to be started the building blocks for the future. With him, still have Patrick Williams, who has been pretty underwhelming as a player for his career so far, but he still has a lot of
Mhm.
upside. Um, so they just need to hit the reset button and trade out Zach Levine and start fresh. That's just my opinion. And this is a good opportunity to do so this off season. Maybe I am not 100% sure what the off season looks like in terms of who's the players available and stuff. But I think Paul George is on the market, some big names, but probably not interested in the Bulls. Uh, yeah,
Definitely
just
not.
start over, Bulls. Just start over.
Start fresh and come again.
I remember seeing a meme, right? That's saying that the Chicago Bulls have been paying the price for all the glory they had in the 90s. And I laughed so loud at that because this franchise has been struggling since the Michael Jordan era. They had a promising spell with the Derrick Rose,
That
but other than
Rose.
that, I mean, they've really been subpar. So this, as Raven said, to echo his sentiments, there's no direction for this team. They have to restart. They have to restart, reset, just trade the players. If I honestly do believe if Lonzo was available, it could
Yeah,
definitely be a different team. But
I
until he
agree.
gets healthy, and I've been hearing some serious, some bad reports uh, on his recovery. But if he was there, I think the team would have a very good chance because they just need a good point guard and someone who can make some good threes and play defense, and that's Lonzo Ball. But if he's not returning, restart. Just trade the players, get what you can, get draft picks. You might have to sacrifice a season or two, worst case scenario. But that's what you got to do because right now they are. The East is kind of weak this year, and they still didn't make the playoffs. So that shows you how weak they are.
Mhm.
Yep.
But
Atlanta Hawks and Kings. Yeah, go ahead. Go
before we
ahead.
move on, I want you to know that every team they play tournament, every team I said was gonna win, everything I said was gonna happen happened. Came through like clockwork, just like clockwork. I just gotta put it out there.
Give you your props. I'll give
Clockwork.
you a
Yep.
prop. You was right. Um, yeah, Hans, you telling me about the Hawks.
Yeah, Hawks and Kings. Two fairly young teams. Had a chance. Obviously, we knew it was going to be a tough task on the west side. You had two big teams in there in New Orleans Pelicans and Lakers that they would have had to overcome. Didn't quite get through on the east end. Chicago Bulls and the Heat, two teams that, sorry,
Like Hawks.
76ers and Heat.
Hawks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, two two teams that we definitely had going through there. So Hawks didn't quite make it either. So just quickly, any thoughts on prospects for the Hawks coming
Um,
into next season or going into next season, and maybe Kings if they have a better chance next year?
yeah, I can touch on quick. The Hawks. There's been a lot of talk about Trey Young or the Johnson Murray getting traded. I think it's pretty clear they had 2 years now to really kind of get something going. They haven't. I mean, it's been a missed injuries. Trey Young missed a fair amount of this season. DeJounte
Yeah.
had some injuries last year too. I guess they haven't really got enough time and consistency to be able to figure out what they need to on the court. But clearly, it isn't working. It's two failed seasons since the trade, so I think they're going to look to make a trade this offseason. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I think that's probably the right move. They got a upcoming guy there, and I forgot his name. Oh boy, missed him man's name. You got a young fella there that playing really nice. That looks like a cornerstone for their future.
Yeah.
I think he's a Johnson or something like that's his last name. I can't remember truthfully, but yeah, they just need to hit a slight reset and try a new path for the Hawks, and I think they're going to do it this off season with either a move with Trey or DeJounte.
You
With the
think
Kings,
and
mhm.
any of those two guys could possibly help the Bulls out in the future? You think
Uh,
that might be a good move?
I think Trey Young could make a difference
Trey
if he
Young,
becomes a little
yeah,
more pass oriented. He can't be looking to jack up that many threes. I think he needs to be able to be more of a facilitator and choose his shots carefully. I think that would help. 'Cause at any day, he's still an all-star caliber point guard, and he has playoff experience, which is vital. And he's always been an underdog for the most part. So I think once he is on the shorter side in terms of height, I think he's under 6
Literally.
feet. Yeah, but at the same time, both is a pretty big team too. They have some pretty big players. But once he could become a facilitator and just look to pass first mentality, I think he would be an asset to the team and willing to take some charges. I can't remember if he does, but you have to play a bit of defense, or he's going to be a serious liability. But
that means that Kobe White gotta take a back seat a little bit then.
And I hate to say, my best thing for the Bulls to do is just get some picks. They don't want any more star players or
Yeah.
borderline star players or anything. Let's start fresh and go through the process like the
Mhm.
Sixers. Well, maybe not like the Sixers, but go through the
Like
process
OKC.
or rebuilding team like OKC maybe. Just
okay,
rebuild.
yeah.
Have a plan to rebuild. That's my big thing for it. But they don't want Trey Young on the team. Just get some
Right.
picks, in my opinion. Um, so yeah,
On to the
with the
Kings
Kings,
though.
yeah,
Yeah, had a chance.
yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah, the Kings
It's
have
sad
the
seeing
Kings. Uh,
they had a tough season, boy. They had two All Stars that didn't make the All Star team in De'Aaron Fox and some bonus, and
Yeah.
then they get knocked out by the Zion-less Pelicans in the playing match after whooping the dynasty that was the Golden State Warriors. I don't know. That's just I guess that is the epitome of their season. Super high highs and super low lows. So that's where they
Yeah.
find themselves out and on the beach during these next couple of weeks. So
exactly.
a
A nice
disappointing,
little recovery. I guess
yeah. a disappointing
pushing it
season
time for
compared to
now, you know?
last year, even though they were a
Yeah.
3 seed and out in the first round. But I mean, they did play the Warriors, and it was
Mhm.
that's one of the best series that we had last year.
Yeah,
But
hands down.
they slid back a little bit on offense. There was number one offense last season. They, I can't remember exactly their rating this season, but I'm pretty sure they would have been top 10 anywhere around that range. Um,
Mhm.
Defense hasn't picked up as much as it needed to be, so they couldn't rely on that high power offense that they did last year. And the defense is still the same place, and therefore that's a recipe for not being as good as you were last year. And the
Yeah.
injury luck, I mentioned that when we
It
came when
happened
we
at the
ended the
wrong
season
time.
last year. The injury luck was perfect for them last year. They barely had any players injured. This year they had a little bit more of a challenge with that, and you see the
Yeah.
result. So
And they also had a tougher West
yeah,
conference
that's
to
what's tough.
contend with as well. So
Yeah, a lot of things going against them, and ultimately they faltered.
yeah, but
Yeah,
you mentioned this. Go ahead, Hakim. Sorry,
I
because
just think that they just been unlucky as right. Once they had a tumultuous season, I feel like being a ninth and 10th seed, the odds are already against you. If you win a good your first playing game, and that was essentially a nail biter, and then you gotta go and play away to for the AFC, or really the AFC to get are fighting for the AFC. It's a tough schedule, and as I said, the odds are against you, and they technically are a good team. I think the Kings are going in the right direction. I mean, yes, this is not where they would like to be this season, but any day they're still 10 games above 500. They made the playoffs last season. You could tell Mike Brown was going the right has the team as I said, in the right direction. They just need to stay confident, stay patient, make some minor trades, if need be. But I think it's only up for the Kings. I don't think they should hold their heads down and be like, this is an awful season. The Kings before last season was like a joke, a joke team for like last 10 years probably, right? Like, to know that they actually have playoff aspirations and they're just on the borderline playoffs. I think they're going in the right direction, and I can only see them getting better from next year. So once everybody stays healthy and they don't take their foot off the gas, I think the Kings could be a serious threat because right now the Warriors might be looking done and dusted, so we might gotta count out for a year or two. you know, so we see how it goes.
a year or two, I feel like Warriors at that point are rebuilding too. Um, it's been a little while now since Warriors been on top, and it's been slowly regressing. And we saw that little stance after the game from Clay, like he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't believe that was it. And I saw that some people were alluding to that being a stance of the last game for
Retirement.
him
So
at Warriors.
I can see Clay retiring before he gets traded, but he probably wants to prove it to himself. He can still do it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows, man? Like Warriors is they at that point for sure. Get a move on, start fresh, or maybe just build around Steph if Steph continuing. Get some defensive pieces because Draymond going to be done soon too. You got to make some moves.
Man, I think
But
uh they're not Steph is still Steph prime is pretty wide
long,
because
yeah,
yeah, he is not a super athletic player. A lot of his, you know, offensive prowess comes from his ability to shoot. And he doesn't look like anywhere that plans to be so, he probably will have maybe he probably not as long as a career as LeBron, but close. Uh Based on what you've seen. I don't
but,
see him slowing
but
down
age
in the
wise,
next 2 years.
probably not season wise in terms of seasons.
And he's not an injury prone guy either. Like,
Well, he is.
so,
He has been
Yeah,
early in his career, but no,
yeah,
he gets injured
I
every
would say
he's
there
been
year.
was that
steady.
one season.
For,
There was that one season where they were super trash when
mhm,
they got the lottery pick for James Wiseman and stuff. They got the second pick in the draft when he was injured for pretty much the whole year. So there was that one season. That was the 2020 draft with Anton
mhm.
LaMelo. But since then, he's been pretty okay health wise. but I think he's got another 2 good years as being one of the best players in the league in him. So we see what the Warriors try to do. I think it's time for them to, you know, call it a wrap. They've had a nice long run. It's been about almost 10 years of being at the top in the league, um, being the model franchise in the league, being the trendsetters in the league. And it's been a great run, but all good things must come to an end, as they say. So it's just the Warriors' time. It's sad that it happened this way. Um, with a shellacking from the Kings, who was their rival. But it's just to show you, like, there was a younger team. They felt like they had more to prove because of last year's experience losing to them in the first round of the playoffs. I just feel like they came up with more fire, and
Yep.
even missing 2 key players from their side. So uh, it's a single elimination game. So any any random player could go off, which did happen. Keegan Murray went off at 35 end the season for the Warriors, but I think this is just a sign of the end for that specific core um, in the Warriors dynasty.
Talk about clear shooting though. Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
you see the
he,
Oh,
jokes,
he
bro. There.
he didn't have a good game at all. I could definitely see Clay. I mean, t- I'm on the same page as everyone. Like this season, their dynasty is definitely over. Steph probably has another 2, 3 seasons because at the end of the day, Steph shoots threes. He's gonna make sure he doesn't lose his agility too much. Once he stays mobile enough to be on the constant run, he should be good enough. And even if that diminishes a bit, his ability just to shoot from anywhere in the court would always make him a threat. But Clay, yeah, I would say Clay has to go. This I remember early in the season, I think the GM or the organization basically gave Steph the choice if to keep Clay or if to trade him. I don't know which direction Steph is going to go in. If he's going to have a conversation with Clay and say, Clay, talk to me. Where's your head at? Do you want to leave? Should you leave? What do you think is better for the organization? Because honestly, Clay has been not the best this season. I don't want to call him trash because Clay is a Hall of Famer, but Clay has not
Hey,
been
Hall of
playing good.
Famers could be trash too at some point.
We can't call him trash. You call them on the decline. They've diminished in their position and their type of play, but you can't call him trash. But he's not a trash player. Still quality. But let's say he had a hard season. But
Mm,
I would say Clay gotta go. Draymond, the thing is, if you trade Clay and you trade Draymond, you lose a lot of experience one time. You lose a lot of that veteran presence. People that can probably relate to Steph and talk to Steph and know how to motivate Steph. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
Steve Kerr is there, yes, but I feel like Draymond is also equally important to motivate Steph and somewhat keep the team
yeah,
motivated, but really Steph. So if you
Mhm.
trade Clay and you trade Draymond, I think that's going to be more of an impact that we expect. If not, you're gonna have to
yeah,
really bring a serious veteran player and some just quality players around Steph. Someone who could really understand the system. But it's gonna stay probably might be not the best team for maybe 2 seasons max, provided they
mhm,
don't get some good trade players. If I was going to stay, I would try to trade quickly because you don't want to waste Steph's prime. And I can't see
yeah.
Steph leaving to go to any other team.
Nowhere.
If he does
Right,
go,
but I
if
could say
he
the same
does
about
go,
Draymond too. Mhm.
so Draymond's going to retire.
No, I say you keep Draymond and Steph. I feel like Draymond is more critical for Steph success than Clay is.
I
So
agree,
you
but
keep
Mhm.
Draymond.
Draymond's been his attitude has been awful this season. He's
It's
been
been,
like,
it's been.
and
I
I
wouldn't
think
want him on my team personally,
I think
but
he's low key brain on your team. Like he's like a good and a bad effect. Like, are you getting more negatives than positive? I can't quite tell, right?
well, he's
But
a net zero then at the end of the day,
yeah, so
apparently.
if that's the case, he might as well go
Mhm.
because he's not really contributing overall. But
But I don't see what team is going to trade for Draymond. Who would want Draymond like that, given that same
any
thing
new
that you're
team,
explaining?
well, it depends. If he goes to a new
Because
organization, he might not have as much pull. Not having as much pull, he might be decided he's gonna have to behave.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
Draymond could retire now. He got he life after basketball already going well. He playing basketball, so uh
retired, ain't it? But I just
yeah,
feel like these players want to retire
Talk
on a
about
better note.
basketball.
I feel
right,
like they
yeah, I
want to retire
understand.
on a better note. So
But what
yeah,
better note than to win that championship in 2022? Like nobody saw that coming, and
yeah, but he can't retire that. He
they,
can't
they
retire
got
like
one for
that.
the ages. What you mean?
What?
Once you win, and you go again, you got to run it back.
Dog,
Yeah,
that's
but
because
then you
run your
ain't start
legacy
every
into the
time you
ground.
win, me.
Exactly.
But
And then
yeah,
every time you lose, it
So you
can
can
just be
just
even
keep
worse.
exactly. You can keep trying and trying till
it's
you
better
get beat to the ground.
you owe it to yourself to run it back
You
one
get
more season
flattened.
after a championship. You owe it to yourself to
Wait, the
do
man
that.
run it
But it did.
twice. The man run it twice,
Exactly.
and look
So
what
no,
happened.
but no, it's such a bad beating. You could leave. You can return
Call it
next season
quits
on a
now.
better note.
You might
Fair.
not even make the play in that season at this rate.
That's
if
fair.
if you keep the same pieces, so it's probably
That's fair.
best to just call it quits and bring in some young guns and build a team again. I mean, they already got pieces there that would stay. They got Jonathan Kaminga, Andrew Wiggins, some other pieces that don't need to go anywhere. They could just continue to develop at the team, but
And I wonder how
your
much
eyes
Clay.
go on.
I wonder how much Clay and Draymond are being paid combined. If they'll free up a lot of cap space,
I
I
mean,
have to imagine.
they could stay on the team, but just
Put them on
Yeah, that's
help them
something that
veteran,
practice.
that's something
veteran
that
Help
the
them
minimum.
practice, man.
that's something that the organization on the whole thinking about. Because first of all, they're getting rid of Chris Paul without a doubt. They won't get rid of that money because Chris Paul's still getting paid 37 million a year. Like,
He did nothing
come
this
on,
season.
That's
almost.
crazy.
And
So
then Clay on a I think some way around that price range. They worry team won't get the luxury tax now because it don't make sense paying the luxury tax when the team ain't can be that good. So
Yeah.
they can trade to share some money and it can involve for sure Chris Paul getting traded somewhere and it's either
Chris
Clay or
Paul, should,
Draymond getting.
Chris Paul should retire.
They should get Lamelo. I think that's a good get.
The Hornets ain't get that.
I,
Ain't
I,
get that with a
I,
mellow like that, bro.
I could see that, but who? But why would the Hornets give him? Like, what would you have to give the
Exactly.
Hornets? You
Yeah,
have to give
yeah,
the Hornets. Would have to
but
give the Hornets
sometimes it's
Andrew
not
Wiggins.
about giving up a player. It's just a player deciding to move. It's
Nah,
not
he's on
always
that
about
stage yet.
giving up a player,
You have to give Andrew
right?
Wiggins,
Yeah.
some draft picks, probably maybe Kaminga too.
Nah, not happening.
So who
Kaminga,
somebody
yeah,
go
Clay B, Clay,
clear who clear. You want to make a pop?
Clay and CP3 for Lamelo.
I will fire you to the gym.
Deservedly so.
I I would fire you.
Whoever
Imagine Michael
GM.
Jordan. Imagine Michael Jordan. He's a minority order now, but owner. But imagine he heard that on ESPN. I said, "What? You missing calls? Yo, get that man out of here. Get that man out of here." Gee,
Look, hey, you getting 2 for 1, 2 for 1 special.
That's crazy. That's
Hornets
not
tired
even two.
already.
That's 1.5 because Chris Paul is almost non-existent. But yeah,
he is. He is.
That's fair. But prediction time, just quickly.
yeah.
Um,
I can pull up the graphic with everybody predictions here now. But I guess you could get
thus
the.
far so far.
Actually, no. Let me
Is
take over the reins here, Hans, and let me give an intro of how the predictions working and how the
go
points
right
go,
ahead.
stuff like that. So I can just transition here for the peeps in a second. Let me pull up some of this stuff. Share the screen so you can see what's going on with the Hastrobros predictions. Right.
This is an exciting setup because you could lose points and
Yep.
gain at the same time. It's gonna be exciting prediction time for sure. I know based on what I've seen so far, some people losing already.
It's only one game. It's only one game.
Hey,
Yeah, a chance.
prediction.
I'm pretty sure my games have been spot on except for Lakers.
But is
As was the whole season.
one game, guys. So just off the rip, so we'll be doing our predictions for the postseason round by round. Starting with the first round, but let me just give a little background on how the point system is going to work for the predictions. So there are three components to each prediction. Uh, as you can see here, there's a series winner, a series scorer, and a series MVP. You're getting 10 points for the correct series winner. And for the series scorer, this was where you get a little bit complicated. So you're losing 2 points for every game that the losing team actually won. So the example I have here. So let's say you predicted that a team was going to win a series 4-love, but in reality, the losing team got 3 games on them, so it ended up being 4-3. So you're going to lose points for each team. You're going to lose 2 points for each game the losing team wins. So in this case, since the losing team lost 3 points, you lose 6 points.
Well, this is above the predicted. So if you predict that they win 2, then you only lose 2 points.
No, well, no, I saying if you predict that the losing team lost 2, and they actually lost 2, then you're losing any points. But
No, if you predict 2 and they won 3, so if they
if your
Any loss,
position is spot on,
any loss that occurred above your predicted scoreline or your predicted series.
yeah. What if there's any difference in the loss column, you're gonna lose points for it. Pretty much that's the best way. That's the simplest way I could explain it.
So if I predicted 4-3, but they won in 4 games, sorry, they won in 5 games, I would still lose.
You're
4
losing.
points.
Yes.
You're losing 4 points.
Either way, okay. So either way, positive or negative. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Up or down, like once you off the mark. So it's basically you set the mark, and how much of a game's off the mark you are on the losing end, then
Correct.
that's it for you. 2 points per.
Correct. So then, and then I could say the bonus points here we get for the series MVP is 5 points for the correct series MVP. To switch it to to give a bigger example. So this is just a depiction of how the graphic will look. If you've seen it on the Instagram page already. So there's pretty much a scenario here. Let's say the Lakers face the Rockets in a series, and you predict the following. You predict the winner is the Lakers. The series score is going to be 4-2 at the end of it, and the series MVP is D'Lo. Right? At the end of the series, the actual winner was the Lakers, so you get 10 points for that. But the series score is 4-0. You predicted 4-2, so you lose 4 points. As you can see, 2 games times -2, which is the difference between the series score. And then the series MVP was actually LeBron James, so you didn't get any points at all for your series MVP. So you end up with a grand total of 6 points. So just a quick breakdown of how the point system is working. If you want to take a look at it, you could always check out the Instagram page. We posted the predictions today. But I'll just switch it to the predictions now that we've got an idea of what
I gotta make a switch on one of my predictions.
I would love to make. I hate
can
watching
happen.
sport too.
I just saying no, because it was just out to, you know what I mean. It was just out to ignorance, basically.
Hands go hold that L, hands.
It was well. Come on, guys. It was well. It was sort of. Anyways, all right,
still an early game, still an early series. You never know.
Change that.
Only one game played, guys.
Yeah, you never know.
Change that one is a no-brainer. Giannis can't be
I guess
MVP if he don't play for the series. That's the
They win it 1-love.
No, I say Giannis can't be MVP.
Oh, fair enough.
Well,
Bruh, it's fine though.
you
It's
never know.
fine.
You know that year that the Bucks won the playoffs, Giannis had a serious injury and came back like Superman and went all the way to the finals like nothing ever happened to him. So he might got that juice stored up for the playoffs. So that's special juice.
You may trying to sell me false hope. That's okay.
No, this is a scientific fact, Hans. This happened a couple of years ago when the Bucks won the championship.
All right, we will see. We will see.
So luck might be on your side again.
We will see.
But the first set of predictions we did were for the Eastern Conference. um, matchups. So first we have the Celtics versus Heat. Uh, it look like we copy each other paper all the way across the board.
Not
Except
really.
for one,
We
sort
got
of. Except
Steph.
for one thing, we got Jason. So if you follow the explanation, so as you can see the Celtics logo, so all of us picked the Celtics. We got the face of the series MVP that we predicted. So this is Jason Tatum across the board, and then we got the series score underneath. Um, I was the only one that had it something different. I predict a sweep for love for the Celtics on the Heat. Hans and Hats predict a 4-1 on the
We gotta give them one.
on the series.
Yeah, I think Miami Heat will find a way to get one.
Yeah, going down. See Knicks and Sixers. Um, Knicks again. 4-2 I predicted. It would be the series. Hockey predicted the same thing. It's going uh with the Sixers. Sorry, the Knicks. Me and Hakeem predicted the Knicks 4-2. Hans predicted the Sixers 4-3, and so forth. Um, but I guess while we are here, we could just dive into the game one of the series, and I guess talk about what we saw from the teams and how we feel about the predictions. Saints Hans feeling a little shaky already, given how
Nah,
things
this is
have
just
gone.
because my guy
This is
not
because of the MVP.
playing.
Yeah, on this thing.
Yeah,
So
it is what
let
it
me
is.
roll back.
Ain't money.
We roll back to Celtics Heat, and I guess you guys could give me some thoughts of what you think about this series on a whole, as it relates to the predictions and based on the first game that we saw.
Strong start, man. I honestly don't think that this is gonna be a repeat of previous years when it comes to the Celtics versus Heat. I think those days are gone. And that's why I predicted a 4-1. I still think Heat got a little dog fighting them to scout one, but I don't think that Celtics is going to lose against the Heat as frequently as they did in years past in playoffs. So we got far more experienced players now, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, and you got Drew Holiday, also experienced that they've actually upped their defense and everything, as well as up their offense. That's why they've been able to go 60 and how much ever else. So I think so far so good. Not really much to say. Just gotta see it play out. I feel like Heat might win the third game, but we shall see.
Yeah, I feel like I predicted it for one. I expect a gentleman suit definitively. I mean, before playoff Jimmy, Miami Heat, I want to say are just about cooked. They are actually are in the heat. I mean, study it, but I saw this on a mission this season. They've been dominant throughout the entire season. Honestly, I see the Celtics gonna really put Miami Heat out of their misery. The one thing I'm concerned about watching this game was that Celtics yes got a huge lead in the first. I think it was the first quarter, second quarter, and to my surprise, Miami Heat didn't bench their starting players, right? And that low key kind of forced. I want to say kind of low key maybe forced Celtics to keep playing their starting players because no team really rested players, right? And at the end of the day, there was a stretch in the fourth quarter that Miami Heat was able to make a pretty good comeback. They ended up losing the game, pretty convincingly. But there still was a point in time where I think they got down to like 12 or 14 points from like 20 something, from 20 higher, or even 30 points. So they did have a lapse. And that's something that frightens me about the Celtics. They can lapse on defense. Yes, they were up and they had a huge lead, but that kind of lapse in defense is what can cost them later on in the postseason when when they're playing the mightier teams. So they have to watch that. But for a team that hasn't played in probably 10 days, well, the starters that haven't played in about 10 days, they came out pretty high intensity. So all in all, they made the first step in getting the job done. Win at home. I expect them to continue this trend.
Yeah. Not much from me on this specific series. As you see, my confidence in the Celtics is pretty high with a 4-love prediction. They started off on the right foot. I can say I align with you in your analysis on the Celtics kind of letting the Heat get back in the game even though they were down so much. Like that
Yeah.
is their Achilles heel. I feel like they've beaten teams so badly all season long that they haven't been in much clutch games this season.
Yep.
And one of the biggest downfalls of this Celtics team in years past have been their clutch play and their inability to move the ball and stuff like that. They haven't been tested. And as always, when they get into that type of situation, it always seems like they're a lesser team than they have been throughout the entire game. So still one of their biggest weaknesses. As you see, as they get faced tough opponents further down in the playoffs, this will be tested and we'll see what this new iteration of the Celtics can do to, exercise those demons of playoff pass uh, and debunk the I guess the theory that we have that they are not a good team, especially in the crunch time, where we've seen them struggle pretty often. So I think they'll take this series out. No big question marks for me. If the Heat win the game, then so be it. But their biggest rival, the Celtics' biggest rival in Jimmy Butler, is not a series, so that is part of my confidence. He was the real swing factor of this series, in my opinion, as to whether the Heat give them some trouble or not. But they dodge the bullet; they don't have to deal with him. They probably might have a smooth sailing, an easy path to the Eastern Conference. Well, to the next one. Let me not say that. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Never know what's happening.
Yeah. But the next matchup is the Knicks and Sixers. Uh, a spirited game, I would say. One of the better games of the weekend. On Saturday, Jalen Brunson had a horrid time trying to get buckets. He went 8 for 20 something. But there's a man with
Josh
a lot of
Hart,
heart.
bro.
There's a
Oh,
man with a lot of heart that
couldn't
just knows
miss for
ah
one.
he knows the time, the
Hurt
moment.
my heart, man. Oh,
He knew
yo,
exactly where to be and when to pull the trigger. Hit some big trees in that fourth quarter to really bring
OG
home
had a
what was
tough
called a
game too. OG didn't really do nothing that game either.
true. Uh, but yeah, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, he was also a big factor in the win in the first
Yep.
game. Um, I don't know. I think there's always going to be a game in the series where the role players step up and do something big. Do you think the Knicks have used up their big game from role player trump card for the rest of the series? I don't know. Hans
Bro,
can tell me.
I
if yeah, go ahead, Hots, because if Hart continue this way,
I
my
mean, Hart is not a
prediction in
role player
trouble.
though. But well, you went with 76ers. That's right. I mean, uh, I have the obviously got a Knicks to win. I feel like Jalen Brunson had an off night, right? And wait, before I continue, how long is Julius Randle out for? He's out for the
He over the
rest.
season, he got a chance of coming back
All
playoffs.
right, no chance.
So
All right.
mhm.
So Jalen Brunson was slightly off, and the role player stepped up. I mean, Josh Hart stepped up, and Josh Hart is not really a role player. But I don't expect Jalen Brunson to be off every game. So I mean, you always get one or two players that be able to step up, make some shots. But even if they don't
But why
step
was
up,
he off though?
I don't know if I can't tell you if it was the. I don't think it's nerves. Unless you always do a
It
bad game
wasn't
or off.
nerves.
I don't think it
It
was nerves.
wasn't nerves. No, 76ers had Jalen decent. He
Yeah, they've
was
been
he
some
was
decent
struggling for
defense.
room. He was struggling for room, and Josh Hart just pulled cold eyes left, right, and center.
And Josh Hart is a role player. You could call Josh Hart is not a borderline all star. Josh Hart is not an all star.
But I mean, he's a
Josh Hart is
starter.
not a
Like,
superstar,
he starts in the team, right? Correct.
right? But he could start and still be a
Yeah,
role player.
And he's been a
exactly.
start. I mean, but he's been a starter on most teams he's been at. I don't think he was a starter at Pelicans, but he's been a starter for the most part.
Aaron Gordon
Yeah,
is a role player.
and he's a starter.
He's a legitimate starter. He's a legitimate
So-
starter.
Yes, he start, but because he
But
start,
he's
that
so-
don't mean he's not a role player.
So you guys
so
classify
wait,
a role player.
so
Yeah. So you guys
D'Lo,
classify a role.
so
So you
D'Lo, what's
classify
D'Lo on the Lakers?
D'Lo had
He's a
a
starter.
D'Lo had his own franchise. He was at the Brooklyn Nets, had his own franchise.
Dog, that was just one season, big man. All right,
But he still did it.
was Austin
And
Reeves?
he got into the playoffs.
Was Austin Reeves?
Austin Reeves is a legitimate all-star type player. That man can make the all-star team on a give him a season or
Killing me,
two.
bro.
Give him a season
You
or
fucking
two. Give him a season or two. He did.
They talking about potential. We talking about what it is. No,
Exactly. I'm bringing in potential.
He gotta get a better haircut first. Before the haircut, he can't make the all-star team.
Bro. Okay. Finish your main point though.
yeah,
Yeah, but as I said, I also trying to talk now. But as I said,
Josh Hart.
I mean, Josh Hart, he's gonna step up. He has to step up. I mean, the man, he can play, right? He's not like he's just a man who only average 2 points per game. He legitimately can play, right? He could get buckets. But I don't expect Jalen Brunson to have an off night or too many off nights in the rest of this series. And at the end of the day, Joel Embiid is not 100%. And him not being 100%, it shifts the odds in the Knicks' favor. And that once that man is not healthy, I don't care. Even be able to give you some minutes, give you some good points. But ultimately, I just waiting until he crumbles because it's gonna be something's gonna happen. I won't be surprised if he goes off in game 4, injured, can't return for the rest of the game. Like something's gonna happen with this man.
Bro,
Just a matter of time.
no.
You see it
bro,
already in
nothing.
the same game on Saturday.
Well,
He went and he had a crazy play off the backboard. Alley-oop to himself and dunk it all
Yeah.
over. What was Mitchell Robinson, and then he lined by and then was kind of limping from there. But yeah,
he
he's
alright. He good. He alright.
good for no.
fine.
But when you look at the
That-
long-term
fine.
optics for Joel Embiid,
That
it's
pick going
kind of
on in the
scary.
brain.
He fine, B. It's just that he, like you say, he learn
Fine for what?
awkward and it tweet.
If that man if they're miraculously get past the Knicks, there's no way he's lasting out.
But miraculously, you feel like he can take a miracle. Come on, all right, look. I feel
hand-
the presence of Joel on the court is enough for Tyrese Maxey. I know you guys saw how Tyrese Maxey was just
Don't forget-
shredding the defense.
Don't forget the Knicks,
Come on
right?
now. Come on, shredding the defense. That tandem, like Joel Embiid's presence for Tyrese Maxey is a nice gateway to get some points on the board.
Don't forget the Knicks are number 2 seed for a reason. You know, I don't care. Yeah, you can say these
That's
just fell off
that's
because
fine.
Joel got hurt.
Where were they before Joel went? That's my question.
It matters where they ended. And the point is, Joel
76ers
can't
coming
stay
to take back, buddy.
healthy.
Watch and
What?
see.
That man can't stay healthy the entire postseason.
Watch and see. Watch and see.
I think it's a really shaky foundation that you're putting this basis on, Hans. Especially when
fair.
it's Joel Embiid's health.
This
If
is
it's
this
one
is what
thing
you
that-
call fifth,
that
buddy.
you don't want to put faith in is Joel Embiid's health because the only year that this has been proven to be true was the year that he won the MVP, and even then he wasn't even all that healthy, to be honest. If the rules was in last year, he probably wouldn't have won the MVP as we see him again this year. I personally pick against the Sixers because the man looks shaky to me too. To be honest, I don't see how he's going to be able to keep up with this Knicks team. They got enough size to throw at him, even though yes, he's still a skilled player. He's still the reigning MVP. It's just going to be tough to start him. He's going to get hits to a certain extent. But even in the playing game, especially in the playing game, I should say, he just looked that he could barely survive to some extent. It's like he was trying to save his energy on so many different plays. Hands on his knees and just
Warm up,
gasping
warm up.
for breath. Pause. But I don't know. I don't have faith in Joel Embiid's health, to be honest. So ultimately, that was my deciding factor to go with the Knicks. And Hakeem said they've been great all season, even without Julius Randle. Maybe they might be even better without Julius Randle because they have some more, offensive flow. because he got more role players that need that no understand share the ball.
Star
Um,
players.
well,
You got stuck correctly.
right. So ultimately, I just can't see where you seem so strong on this pick, given
It's
how
my pick.
Embiid has done.
I got back my pick, and I got to have faith in Embiid's health.
But you could
So
also be, you know, rational and realize that it's not that great one. It's not that great of a pick when Embiid does that. So, but nonetheless, um,
mm, mm.
let's move on to the next matchup. The Bucks versus the Pacers. Three versus the sixth seed. As you can see here, we got myself. I picked the Pacers to win. Tyrese Halliburton to be the MVP 4-3. Hans has the Bucks to win. Giannis MVP. We kind of talked about it already. And his desire to go back on that one. And
Just for
that's
the
mirroring
MVP
my
because he's playing. So
yeah,
it's fine.
that's mirroring my picks. First game.
I got y'all to get -10 on this one anyway.
Nice.
-10.
What do you think about the first game?
For me,
Yeah,
sorry. Hey,
you.
I thought I thought it was a good showing from Dame to set the tone of the
Yeah,
game. Um, Tyrese was pretty much non-existent for the entire game. He didn't really have a flow, but yes, Dame, even though he didn't score in the second half, he really set the precedence for the rest of the team to have confidence to score and contribute in the second half. So he set the tone by putting in the groundwork on his own. Had like 30 in the first half, which is crazy, and then everybody else warmed up to that and was able to contribute where they needed to. So um, I would say good showing. Pascal Siakam though seems to be a thorn for that team, and they got to find a way to contain him a bit. Because if he continues to get big point games, it's only a matter of time before the Pacers star players on the team start to find some find some ground and start hitting, and that's the only scary part for this series. But outside of that, I think Bucks have had a good start. Dame got to keep it up. Um, and don't forget, Dame, when it's crunch time, Dame is a man that you can count on. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the head to head.
All right. He's a man you could count on, he says, but then score in the second half. What is up with that, Hans? Talk to me, man. Man scoring in the
Like
second
I
half.
said, like I
I mean,
said, what he did was to set the tone. That
you
was
know,
his job.
I think the second half is
Okay,
the more
if he
important half.
okay, if he only scored 15 points in the first half and then came and scored 12 points in the second half, hit 28 or whatever, you would say that's a better performance than hitting 33 and still being the main facilitator for the team in the second half.
I think it's about being timely shots, and in the NBA, it's about timely shots. If you essentially is front running, there's no pressure. You're shooting, just getting buckets up, getting shots up. They fell for him. Not saying they play bad, but you can't be a star player and don't score in the second half. That team was on the verge of coming back at one point in time.
It
They were
don't matter
cutting.
if you get 50 in the first half or if you get 50 in four quarters. You get 50. As long as you facilitate your team enough to step up to the plate and get the rest of points, to me, you good.
I think even more. I think it's better to be equally distributed, or at least I didn't say I score another 20 in second half, but there was a point in time where the Pacers were making a surge, right? And he wasn't anywhere to be found, right? So I think any
Mm.
day you saying he came up when it was matter when it mattered. I want to know what he couldn't score in second half. Was he shots not
I
falling?
didn't
I mean,
say
yeah,
that
he
he
did.
came out when it mattered. I said he set the
But,
tone.
but why did he not score in second half? He still played. He didn't play much
He
minutes, but
was
he still played.
troubled.
He was what?
He was troubled. He was
And
troubled.
that
He
and that
he
was
didn't
that
have
and that
the space.
and that's what's frustrating. If you gonna take me, if you gonna give me 50 points or 35 points in a half, I'd rather it be in second half. Because anything happens in the first
But
half, you can always regroup. But you
but
can't
you but,
expect
but
a
you
man to
gotta
prepare
remember
for the
that a
second half.
good point guard though, Hakeem. A good point guard, even when he's done what Dame has done for the night. You gotta be able to say, all right, look, it's tough to score at this point in time. Let me get the ball off to who I need to get it off to
And
and
he did
create the
all of that.
space.
He did all of that and only had 3 assists. That was magnificent distribution. Must say that was top
But
tier.
o-
But
okay, if you give the ball to one man and another man free and the man pass it off and score, you still help the play in some way, form or fashion. You still help create space in order
true,
for the team to
that's
score.
that's not his
So
job.
whether the
That's not
assist
his
goes
job.
to his name or not, the point is he played a very good role in the team in the second half, regardless of
Look,
what the stats say.
that is not his job. And he's meant to be the no that Giannis. Oh, he's meant to be the aggressive player. He's meant to pick his spot on the court, get shots,
Mhm.
through all quarters because there will be times that you need the quarter. It's just yes they got the win and it was a convincing win, but I'm just concerned the fact that he could not score in the second half. That is not good. Unless he played 1 minute in the second half, that is not good. That is not good. That's
Were
not
you
good.
concerned?
But
You
all in
you
all,
say you're concerned, but were you concerned?
all in because as a DM fan, this was one of my hardest picks to decide which team to choose. I went with the
Mhm.
Pacers mainly because Giannis was out and hoping that if Giannis, well not hoping, but if Giannis did return or if he does return, he may not be 100%, and it might not, Pacers might be able to take the lead. But I
Mhm.
did not expect Pacers to come out so flat. Tyrese has been a lot on and off, but he had a poor game. Not even getting double digits, and I think this is his first game of the play on this playoff postseason. Correct, right, one? I don't
Yeah,
think
correct.
so. For first game, it's not what you want to see from your star player, right?
Correct.
It's still is this still one game? Has at least 3 more games to. He should bounce back in two, but he still have 3 more games to turn up to at least elevate his playing style. By any day, you make a name for yourself based on the postseason. So I was disappointed all around, but this is a really great play from the Bucks. And if the Bucks can win this series without having Giannis step a minute on the court, the Bucks would have to feel on top of the world. At any day, the DM has carried teams to the Western Conference Finals with probably less talent or talent on par. You still has Chris Middleton, which is an all-star player. I mean, Bobby Portis Jr. is the crowd favorite, and he plays intensity. So I mean, all in all, and Malik Beasley hitting some threes too. First playoff, I think that was his first playoff game as well.
No,
It's a shame. Yeah, I think that's his first time making playoffs.
nah.
Malik Beasley.
He was on the Wolves. He was on the Wolves in 2022 when the
Okay.
Wolves played the Grizzlies. John Morant got that crazy dunk over him. That crazy, that crazy dunk for John Morant. He had to
Okay.
rock it all the way back.
Okay. I just thinking I
That's
hit
from
them
that
when he was
series.
with the Lakers, but I mean Malik Beasley was at the Lakers. But that being said, yeah, the Pacers got to work a lot for them. The Pacers got to step up, or this series will be over quickly. And I predicted them to win 4-3, so they have to step up, or it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah, just some quick notes from me on the Pacers. I just felt like they seemed shell shocked. Majority of the team except Pascal Siakam looked like they didn't know what they was doing. And at the halftime, I think I sent you guys a message saying that the Pacers had it was like 3 for 16 from three or something like that. And that is not the Pacers that we've come to know this season at all. One of the better 3-point shooting teams in the league. And yeah, they just look like babies to the playoff. So I think they went through that moment, realized where they were. They did run a little comeback in the second half, but that was thwarted. I think it was a little bit too late. And as Hans said, Pascal did look great. He understood the moment. I think it's just a matter of being there and doing that, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Um, Pascal came out and had a great game, had 35. And I think now that they've had the taste of what it's like, I don't think we're going to see a game like that from the Pacers for the rest of the series. I'll be extremely surprised. Um,
The
to
next
me, the
game.
Pacers beat themselves for the most part. They had a lot of shots that they normally made, they didn't hit and stuff like that. So, and Dame was just on the heat and they couldn't do
Yeah,
anything about
damn,
it. So,
damn it off. I was
Hey,
jaw dropped.
I was enjoying it, to be honest, even though they were whooping the team that I picked. I was like, "Whoa, we haven't seen this DM in a couple of months, man."
in a
Like,
minute.
happy,
Yeah.
happy to see it as a DM fan. Happy to see it for him. Um, but I think ultimately, when the Pacers get into their full offensive swing, they're going to be so much problems for the Bucks defense that they're not going to know what to do. To be honest, Pacers in 7.
Pacers in
On to the
7.
Nets. Yep. On to the next matchup. Cavs and Magic. Um, I don't know. This one here is we have that game going on. No, actually, that game
Great
started
move by Cavs.
at 7:30, and right now the
Cavs
Cavs
mauling
are
Magic.
yeah, like
I don't ever think that 7
Yeah,
games is a
8 points.
is a
yeah.
good is a good prediction anymore. Because the way how Cavs played out first game, the type of intensity that they had, um, I think Jalen Suggs was the only person from Magic that seemed like they wanted it, seemed hungry enough
Ye-
to to play the game, to be there and to be present. The rest of the guys seem really lackluster, in my opinion.
Well, I can see this. The issue with the Magic, as expected going into this playoff, is their offense. Their offense is bottom of the league, but their defense is really, really good. And I just figured that when it comes to the playoff, especially going up against the Cavs team that also is good defensively, I just felt that the Cavs had more offensive options.
Mhm.
Donovan Mitchell being the number one, he had 30 in that first game. They got some guys that they got some snipers. Matt Struz could be a sniper. Darius Garland could get hot. Um, they got
Levert,
Josh Levert on the squad too. He could get hot. He could drop a 50-point game out to the blue at any point.
all-star players.
Yeah, the Magic just don't got those options. But I just felt as though the Magic could make them uncomfortable enough to take it to 7 games. And based on the first game, it seems unlikely that's the case. Paulo has been carrying the load for this team all season. He's only in his second year, and it's his first playoff game. He had 24, 9, and 7. Wait, that's a pretty good start line, but he had 9 turnovers, so he's no gaining. A lot of that team on the whole, that whole Magic team is no gaining the playoffs as
Mhm.
well. A new team. Again, they played great defensively, but they just couldn't score the shots. They were getting decent shots, they just couldn't score, and that's been a problem for them all season long. So I think that will play them throughout the playoffs. They are probably going to be scoring lower 80s, well, high 80s, lower 90s for the rest of the series. If they could get the Cavs to match that type of offensive deficiency, then they will have a chance to win maybe one or two of these games. But I take the Cavs offensive production over the Magic as a decider for this series.
This is one of those series where I was on the fence once again, and I kind of went with the Magic. I just felt as if Paolo could have carried the team. I feel like Donovan Mitchell in the last couple of years, yeah, he was on the Jazz, but I feel like he's just empty calories when it comes to playoffs. He's always explosive. I must say he shows up. He shows up. But ultimately the team doesn't really progress or get any further, right? And I just felt as if the Cavs does have a really good team, but I just felt as if the defense of the Magic, and I expected some player on the Magic to step up that we weren't thinking about to really kind of
Mhm,
go off. So I was kind of just going on the fence. Of course, I said 4-3, so it's going to be a close series. I'm
mhm.
hoping that it can get a 4-3 because right now, this second game is looking kind of shaky, but it's still a second game and, they're playing away. So once they return home, the Magic could
That's
hopefully take
momentum.
take care of business and level the series to all, providing they do lose this game. But the Magic have to work cut out for them. I mean, I think it's nerves first game. You have to is always the feel out game. So I'm not gonna say I'm overly worried at the moment, but they gotta show me something this second game, or I don't know. Might be a wrap early o'clock.
minus 10
They
points.
stringing in good in their second game.
Right now
Right
they're
so
down
far.
40. You know
Minus
they're down
10
40
points.
half, and it's a low scoring half for them too, 44 points. So I mean,
Mhm.
I think Magic got two things going against them with this Cavs team, and we gotta give Cavs props for picking
For
basically
thanking?
the picking the Magics as the team to play in the first round. Um, one,
Couldn't
the
know
pace of
better.
the game. The pace of the game is against the Magic based on what I saw. Like they're not handling the ball movement, the turnaround time, that or pace that Cavs moving at, um, and the offensive power, like you say, Rayvon. The fact that they're deficient in offense just raised the bar for Cavs offense, even more. And so you got probably five players on the Cavs that could score the ball once them in position, right? You got Jarrett Allen, you got Evan Mobley, Darius Garland,
Yeah.
Spider, and what's the other guy?
Max Strus.
Yes, Matt Strus as well. Levert. You got a decent set of players that can get in there and do what they got to do. So if they can't stop any of these guys, which is they got to play 5-on-5 defense. They can't let any leave anybody open. They got to be on it. Um, if they can't do that, then it's this might be the sweeper at the first round. Might be.
I find it hard to believe that it will be. There's always that one game where this role player steps up. If they continue to get consistent performances from Paulo, if they get Franz to actually play like we the player that we thought he would be, Franz
Yeah.
really had a good game in that first game. I'm not sure how he's faring though, but he can be good because it's still down by a good amount in this second game. Um, but I think the Magic has been playing good defense. It's just you
Yep.
can only play so much good defense.
Correct.
If you can score, it's basketball. You still got to score the ball. So uh, it'd be interesting to see how this is going to go. I hope that it goes all the way down, just because the Cavs tank to get the spot. Should that upon
Yeah.
them. Um,
You
but
want them to
anyway,
be punished for that
let's
decision.
correct. Let's just move on swiftly to the West, uh, where all the action is at. I would say, for the most part. I was we had I could see it. There's about
You mean
two
where all the
blowout games in the
disappointment
West.
is at?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah. We had it's a split between the two. We had two blowout games in the West, two in the Wolves, Suns, and the Clippers, Mavs, and we had two blowout games in the East, right? Yeah,
yeah,
well,
Yeah.
three
So
if you consider the Cavs Magic blow. It was kind of a big lead. It wasn't as bad as the Pacers and the Heat. Uh, but in the West, let me start with the game from last night. Um, Thunder versus Pelicans, which was I would say one of the most competitive games of
CJ
the
lose that game
weekend.
for Pelicans. I was disappointed. I was very disappointed in the fact that he tried to be a star player there where he did not need to be. He them drop the game for the winner. Them could easily get that layup or that 2 point and play defense and take the game into overtime. It would have been harder
It was
for
an ugly game.
yeah. I was very disappointed. Pelicans tossed that game. Well, CJ tossed that game.
Yep, and that might have been their only chance to actually beat the Thunder. To be honest, because I
Mhm.
didn't expect them to have such a bad game. They did. SGA came out and won it for them on the line like he's done all season. Clutch player of the year, I would say.
Bro, you
Um,
saw the shots that he put down like from behind the backboard, maybe. like,
the
like the man was
defense,
baseline and just jumper, nothing but cotton.
man, stay clutch.
mhm.
God,
um,
SGA,
as you
man.
can see, in the predictions, we all have the OKC to win. I have SGA as the MVP. Um, I gave him a game. I gave the Pelicans a game.
That would have
Uh,
been the one, boy.
Yeah, that would have been the one. So Hans has him going for it all, looking like the the the
I,
likely path. And
I still feel it. I still feel it. The Pelicans.
Janitors of the West, man.
I still feel like the Pelicans have. I just think the OKC are inexperienced, and I feel like the Pelicans have what it takes to get a winner or two. If Zion returns, I'm not sure how long his injury is. I think it's a hamstring injury. I'm not sure how serious it was, but especially if Zion comes back, I mean problems for the Thunder.
I don't know.
I know about
I don't
all
think
that.
Zion can make it back for this series, to be honest. And if he don't make it back for this series, then he probably could be home once he healthy. So he won't matter. Uh, but I, I just got the OKC to knock this one out the park. As I said, that was an ugly game last night. The
Yeah.
Pelicans had so many shots to win it. I remember that play where they got like 4 or 6 offensive rebounds, and everybody clanked a tree. Brandon Ingram was, I mean, Brandon Ingram just came back from injury. We got remember that too. But
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram wasn't that great. CJ McCollum, as he said, he did get a clean shot to, well, relatively clean shot to kind of tie the game or win it. Actually, it was a tree, yeah, so he would have won the game.
It wasn't
But
really that
still,
clean because he was
yeah, he had a
off
step through.
balance. He
Yeah,
was moving forward while trying to pull up the tree. It
yeah,
was
it was a
more
tough
of a
shot.
putt than it was a
Yeah,
shot. And he put himself in that position. Like he was double teamed. Like I'm pretty sure he could have get that ball off to somebody else, move around the ball in the last 4 3 seconds and get
mhm.
a cleaner look. Even if it's just two, at least get the two. Tie the game.
You know what? That's one thing that's consistent about NBA players and teams in the final game. In the final seconds of the game, they
Look for
like
the
to
winner.
resort to hero ball to yeah,
Look
yeah,
for
to
the
hero
winner.
ball to some extent. It's going to be tough. Like you got, but I understand it because it's going to be tough to say, all right, get this pass here, because the defense is so much more keyed in. It's so easy to deflect a pass in those moments. So it's the best thing to do is probably just put it in one player's hand and let him
And that's
figure it
what they
out.
train for. And that's what they train
Yeah,
for.
yeah, exactly. So, CJ just that wasn't on his side of stars, but I think they're going to lose this. That was their best shot to win the chance. The Thunder are going to be a lot better, um, holistically in these next games. Anything else on that matchup from you guys? Or-
Nah, I think that one is Zion being always been yeah,
yeah,
not that safe for me.
yeah, it would be more interesting if he was there for sure. Um, Nuggets Lakers. I know a certain amount here ready to talk about this. Uh, so we had a pretty
Good first
close
half.
game. Yeah, good first half. The Lakers are up on the Nuggets, and the Nuggets in championship fashion just came back and pretty much took hold of the game in the second half, and you know,
Put them
yeah,
down.
this is us doing.
Lakes.
The
Put them
Lakers a
down.
little spiky to let them know. All right, yeah, we here though. We
Put them
here.
down. Put them down.
I know. And let me leave the floor to Hakim because I know he might want to talk about a certain player that was so good for them for so much of the second half of the season, and just like Casper the Ghost vanish from the game. So, what was your thoughts on the Lakers and D'Lo? If you want to dive into he specifically,
I can look at the game overall first. I think for me, the problem that I had with this game, right, is that we played some really good basketball initially. We were leading going into the first second quarter, going into the half. We were leading, playing well, playing good ball, getting threes. Everybody's engaged. But there was a point in the second quarter. I can't remember the lead was. It was double digit leads. I want to say maybe was it 13 or 15. It was a pretty decent score line. And then two twos. The Lakers had a lapse in defense and let the Nuggets go for like I think two back to back threes or a couple buckets back to back, and it was just like that. They lapsed at the wrong time, and I was like, come on, Lakers, they can't be doing this. Just like don't make this a repeat of last year. You're winning, you're in charge, you start good, but then it's like the Nuggets just flip the switch and just say, all right, time to get serious. It's like if you're playing FIFA and you're taking time, relaxing, you're kind of like laying back, and then you start losing the game, and then you get a little more serious and lean forward, and then start navigating a little better with the controls.
Not meme.
It's
Yeah.
it's like the Nuggets just flip the
But
switch.
we talked about that
LeBron
all
has
season. Hakeem.
yeah,
We talked about that all season.
LeBron has a lot more turnovers than I expected. He was a little careless with the ball, which is something I normally say about LeBron. D'Lo didn't really show up. Any day we know LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to get points. D'Lo has to show up, be that player, or at least Austin Reeves, somebody. But D'Lo was ghosting. He was nowhere to be found, and the Nuggets took advantage of that. And just like they did what they had to do. I think the series was never going to be an easy series. It was never going to be an easy series. But to let these men beat you by 11 points, well, sorry, it's about 11 points. The third quarter, the game was lost in the third quarter. They almost outscored us 2-1 in the third quarter. After that, it was like you created a big deficit, a huge deficit. You already got LeBron playing 41 minutes, first game of the series at 39 years old. I don't know what to say. Like this is gonna be a long series. So hopefully tonight
I don't know.
or long night, I know there's something, but I have Lakers to win. But I got have the faith. I need DeAndre to step up. I need him to step up. He needs to step up. Austin Reeves needs to step up. One of those two players need to really step up and be explosive, be fearless, and get points. No cap. They have to step up. I know D'Angelo Russell has more of a quote unquote bag. I know LeBron doesn't like that terminology, but
D'Angelo got purse at this point.
he gotta step up. He gotta step up. He gotta step up. Or it's gonna be over just like that. And I would hate to know that Lakers go down 4-love again. So
Right now,
take it
D'Lo
one
got
game at a time.
popular.
Once they
Got
could get
popular
this,
to
once they
stop.
could get one game on the road, they've done their job. The mission
That
was
ain't
to one game
happening.
on the road. Once they win tonight, if they can win, well, hoping they win
I
tonight,
said once they win tonight.
go back, go back home, take care of
The
business,
irrational confidence of a Lakers fan.
take care of
Yeah.
business, take care of business, and then either bring back the series 2-0 to Denver or possibly 3-1. If they go 3-1, I just know that's right. But let me not get ahead of myself. They got to win tonight first. Tonight is a must-win game, or I
You're
would
more
say
than
it's
ahead of
almost over.
yourself, big man.
They have to win tonight, or it's just about over, in my opinion.
Mm.
Before you move on, before I let you talk, Hans, what do you think about Darwin Hans' comments saying that he's saving adjustments? I don't know what type of coach he is, to be honest. He's
Saving
saving
it just
adjustments. This man serious. The Nuggets whooping when every single game when I play. And you talking about saving adjustments? Like, come on, big man. Like,
You gotta
no,
ask
man,
Hakim
come
that
on.
question because Hakim is GM.
nah.
He's been in them meetings. He gonna know what's
I
going
don't,
on.
I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, you got you. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me. At the end of the day, you make adjustments
You gonna have
every
a
game
chat with him tomorrow.
depending on the flow of the game. When you run out to options, then you kind of do a hail mary and hope that you do something unorthodox that you normally don't do, and hopefully if it works, you run with that new lineup around this player that's hot. But
I guess he's saving Hail Marys.
but I ended to know you go up in the first, you going into the half, you were leading. You had a double digit lead on Nuggets at a point in time in the game. Everything was going right, and you just let it slip in the third quarter. That lapse. There was a point in time that nobody was actually rebounding. Like I felt like the rebounding killed us as well. Well, yeah, us. I ain't say us. I feel like party team minus point. But it was they got to lock in. They have to lock in. They have to beat this team are their best, and once they're at their best, I think they're capable of winning. But they have to be at their best. Everybody has to be locked in. LeBron can't be doing these turnovers. AD got to be rebounding and stay aggressive, and D'Angelo has to show up. He cannot go us, especially in the last two quarters. And Darren Ham got to
Are
be
you Hans?
a lot better.
I honestly don't got much to say. I mean, Nuggets is the defending champions for a reason. From what I see last season, um, in the playoffs with this team, they're solid. Like there ain't a better word that I can put with this team. This team's solid. Even in losing their star player, um, that played a a bigger role for them in in winning the championship. Who's now lost? No one's heard of him in a while.
When the
Um,
Raptors,
I even forgot his name and everything.
Bruce Brown.
Headband man. I
bro,
can call it
Bruce Brown.
headband man.
Bruce
Yeah.
Brown.
um, the team is just a solid team, man. Like I can't say much about. I was actually surprised by the showing that Lakers had early on.
Mhm.
But if this is going to be their MO, they got to be closers. Um, they they can't lapse on a team that is as steady as the Nuggets. That's for sure. And when guys like Aaron Gordon start to get good looks and stuff like that, especially on a matchup against LeBron, like LeBron gotta be more explosive around Aaron Gordon. He can't be too slow or anything like that. Like he actually got to put in the effort around this guy
I
because
said
this guy
LeBron.
matching size. Say again.
Said LeBron gonna be more explosive around Aaron Gordon.
Of course, because if he let him get too close to the rim, ain't nothing he could do. Otherwise, he can start fouling. Aaron is a pretty big dude, and
You're pretty
he's run at
mobile
the
too.
rim. Yeah,
I,
so like
I think Rahans, if you go on Amazon,
you,
I think
you
you
gotta
could
be
find
attentive
I think you
to
could
this
find
guy.
poker stick. I think you could find poker sticks for like 59.99. Cause that's the only way you gonna get. That's the only way you gonna get LeBron that turn areas would be so explosive like Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon,
Come
Aaron
on,
Gordon.
no.
You gotta give him a
Come
poker
on,
stick.
no.
What you talking about?
Hey, come on, no. Come on, Hakeem. I expect. I I actually wasn't expecting that from you at all.
You want the man to be guarded Aaron Gordon? The man could jump out the gym. Aaron Gordon, come on, man.
Well, I guess that's one of the adjustments that y'all gonna make. Because if LeBron had a torrid time doing it, like was it last night that them played or Saturday, whichever,
Yeah.
um, then y'all can have a rough time in the paint. That's for sure. And you can't count on 80 too much because 80 can get a few good nights, but if anything go wrong, he can break. And if if 80 breaks, then we're in trouble. So
That man
yeah,
needs some calcium.
not much more to say. I do gotta ask you about your Jamal Murray pick though, Rayvon.
I was just thinking that ultimately the Lakers defense, especially in the perimeter, you starting at Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, Jamal Murray could cut that. Like, that's literally it. So I just figured that he would just be cooking him. Oh no, he didn't have that great of a game in the first one. But
Yeah.
tonight might be different. I can just see I can see myself waking in the morning and just seeing Jamal Murray step backs all over my screen and just splashing them in between the plays. It's very possible that could be the story for me tomorrow morning when I wake up.
You can make a
Um,
watermark on your computer.
God, something boy. That was my reasoning for it. But I my one remark for this specific series, and
Mhm.
one is a story of the Lakers season in a nutshell. LeBron James, Anthony Davis doing what they're supposed to do, and still not getting enough help from the role players. That's been the story this season. The
Wasted calories.
all season long, AD has actually been available and not injured all the time and putting up numbers all season long, and they're still losing. So,
Wasted calories.
uh,
Sound
example
like
of
it's on the
season,
Durban ad. Every time everyone's saying wasted calories.
boys. I know, man.
Hey. I
The
wish them
next,
the best of luck though. Honestly,
yeah,
I would like
we
to
see tonight.
series at least hit 6 games.
It should, yeah, that would make it a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
Um, Next matchup in the West, a pretty big blow game. Wolves at Suns at Wolves. Anthony Edwards made a impressive performance. I could say one of the best performance of the weekend. One of the more
I think
I
that
don't know,
was the best performance for the weekend.
yeah, I mean, Dame had 35 and a half. Like, there's still that. He didn't score any points in the second half, but
Yeah, but
terrible watching the
he ain't
moment.
scoring the second half, so
But
it's
I guess
trash. It's garbage.
a little bit to what Hakim was alluding to though about time and moment. I just felt like the time that took over the game and the moment was just a lot more significant. He had 33 points. He been doing all that yapping to Kevin Durant. As we know, Ant said KD is his favorite player, so it
Yeah.
was a special moment for him to have that moment and pretty much beat his favorite player. So it was fun to see. The Timberwolves defense was absolutely spot on Devin Booker. I don't know if you guys see the highlights. Jaden McDaniels had Devin Booker in a straight jacket. He couldn't really do much. Even at one point, Rudy Gobert on the perimeter, Devin Booker ended up getting the bucket. But I don't know if you see that clip with Rudy pretty much guarding Devin Booker on the island and had him in trouble. To be honest, he
Yep.
was a superstar and found a way out of it and got the bucket. But man, the defense was sensational. And it's funny that we get this big of a turnaround after everybody was like, "Oh, the Suns dominated the Timberwolves in the season series." I told you guys that it's not going to be the same way. There's no way I is averaging 14 points against the Suns. And once the Timberwolves pick up that defensive intensity and bring that identity that they've had all season, it's going to be scary hours for the Suns. So we saw it in our first game. Excited to see the second game. Thoughts on the game, Hans?
I was actually impressed. I couldn't miss a thing.
Yeah, boy.
So that's all I gotta say. If I ever start missing, I know that he can come back sometime in the fourth quarter, but by that time it might be too late if Suns got a decent lead. But outside of that, if he keep this up, I could see I could see this game going five or six.
Mm.
The series,
Yeah, but
sorry.
I see this series. Well, I have predicted for 7 because I do believe at any day the Suns will step up. I'd be surprised if they don't step up. But this was the answer to me. I stepped up. Similar reasons for Ravon. There's no way I was gonna be averaging 14 points. And India, once you have an opponent for the playoffs, you're able to lock in, create a game plan, and you're able to just execute. And they were able to execute. They showed up for intensity. I do believe Kevin Durant's days of being he still was actually pretty efficient on the night, but I just feel as if he's not that kind of player to really take over games anymore, in my opinion. I've not seen it in years since he's really left Golden State. And as I said earlier and a couple of streams ago, I think he has a lot to lose because he's done nothing in the playoff, in the postseason since his departure from Golden State Warriors. And Ant showed up. He's balling out. The big three from the Suns have not been unified. They don't have a lot of games on their belt. Bradley Beal has been a no show for the most part. He's been plagued with injuries this season. But I get excited for it. I expect a more competitive series, but for sure Timberwolves gonna come on top. And I guess at any day we must be saying no. That Rudy Gobert trade looks pretty good right now. Because at first everyone was doubting the
That's it
trade.
right now.
Everyone was doubting the trade and saying it makes no sense. Got two big men clogging the paint. Looking pretty steady right now, if you ask me.
Massa right
Dog,
now.
the
You
man
was
was
sleeping
number
for the
one
third
seed for most
season?
of the season.
I mean, but it matters for playoffs. The season, at the end of the day, the season, the regular season is okay, but it's really about the playoffs. It's how do you up your intensity in the playoffs. And so far, only one game in, they've done a good job.
All
That's
right.
my take on it.
All right. We don't want to stick up on that too long. Some good tips from the guys on our series. Um, but the next one, the Clippers,
The shocker of the
Mavs. Yeah,
all of
like the Clippers versus Mob. This is one of the more surprising games of the weekend. The Mavericks were absolutely shell shocked, but the Clippers defense, I would say, their defense really had them in a hoop. Zubats was playing like I don't know, the man he was dominating on the interior.
like he should. So big he is. God.
James Harden was orchestrating like Beethoven. I, this they had an exceptional game, man.
Uh,
But you know, as usual, James Harden comes up with these great game ones, yada yada yada. When the series get later down, he
no show,
becomes non-existent,
Casper.
invisible. So
Honestly,
yeah,
right? Honestly, I just think Clippers confidence took them to where they needed to be.
mm, I
When
think
I watch the
Westbrook.
game, but that's a great game with this now because I
Mhm.
think overall the team just had like the shots that Paul George pull up. I was like, come
Yeah,
on, bruv.
big man, like that's crazy.
With
What
confidence too,
splattered him too.
like
Yeah,
yeah, like you ain't scoring all these shots in the regular season, bro. All these things, over all these shots coming from Westbrook with confidence, pulling up for trees, and like I was distraught, and I can understand why Miles probably was distraught too, because that's how they played. Um, Kyrie though did say that they allowed a team like this to get momentum, and I feel like
yeah,
they drew off of that momentum. Their
yeah,
confidence drew from those first few plays, and it never stopped. And when you got energies on the court like Westbrook in playoff series and stuff like that, then you definitely going to get good energy feeding throughout the team. Even
yeah.
Norman Powell, who's been um, a lot of energy for what's the team again? Toronto Raptors when he was there as well. He plays with a lot of energy, so I felt like the team just grew in confidence throughout the night, and Mavs wasn't able to keep up. They shut down Luca a lot. Luca wasn't himself, in my opinion. Kyrie didn't get a lot of looks either,
I mean,
so they did a pretty good
because I
job.
had 33,
31.
39.
Yeah, they
Six.
contributed well. Actually. It was the role
Yeah,
player.
but from what I saw, even though he had 33, Luca's night didn't look like a Luca night. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, not in the first half, but you gotta remember that they did
Yeah,
went on that big run in the second half to really cut down the lead a lot. This game was a
yeah.
lot closer than game ended a lot closer than what it looked like, to be honest, in real time. And then one on
That's true.
nine
Because
seven,
at
but
one point there was like
They were down
22
like
points down or
20.
something.
I think it was more than that. I think it was down almost like 30
more than
points.
that, it was
At
down
point,
30. Yeah,
yeah, at point
this
in
is
time,
8 points in the second quarter, bro.
Yeah,
this was similar
because it
to like
was
Boston
50,
Celtics
50,
game to
82
me.
or something like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
This game was similar to like the Boston Celtics versus Heat, where they just what was no Clippers just didn't sub out their role players. Sorry, sub out their starters, and the the Mavs
The
kept
Mavs,
playing
yeah.
their starters straight down to the end or just about the end.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if that's a way to try to find what works, find a system that works. You know how to, if you close out on a good trajectory, you know how to start for your next game, or if it's just to get your players back into match fitness. I'm not sure what was the reason for it, the rationale, but the game was closer than it really was. To what everyone said, this game was
Yeah.
done for the second quarter. I was I was disappointed in this game. This is actually the game I was looking forward to the most. Well, one of them.
Yeah, I stopped my day
Yep.
to watch this game too, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Geez,
yeah. Okay, it's
I'm
my
I could
welcome
have been
now, didn't
probably
it?
doing something else." Yeah,
Yep, yep.
But also remember though, this is this mob's team first time playing together with Kyrie and everybody in the playoffs. So
man,
I
Nice.
mean,
man,
yes, they
like
had a full season. They had a full season, yes,
the
to close
momentum,
out,
they're probably
and
one
they
of the
were
best
good.
teams coming off the regular season.
Yeah,
Come on,
for sure.
they should
And
never be
For
playing like this.
Kyrie's a champion.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But we know that playoffs is a different animal when people start to bring a game. You start to see something different from teams. In any case, but no excuses for the Mavs because I don't want to sound like that. I just saying, um, I think with that middle run, I feel like they've seen where they can improve, and hopefully the second game will be a lot better, a lot more competitive.
All right, uh, we didn't really go through the picks that we made, but just quick, I picked the Mavs to win in six. I picked the Mavs to win in seven. We both picked Luca as the MVP. Hats picked the Clippers as his winner this series with Paul George as MVP. Just any quick rationale behind that?
For the Paul, I mean for the Clippers. I mean, I got Clippers to win the series, so Kawhi being out, Paul George has to be the man to get the buckets. Harden is obviously there too, but I believe Paul George is going to be the one to step up. Harden, I just believe Harden. That's for the same reasons. He disappears. He behaves like Casper. So Paul George has to be that guy that's going to keep it consistent.
He's a Casper
And I think,
friend.
and I find Harden likes to facilitate now in his
Mhm.
later on in his career. So I think he's going to just facilitate. And then once Paul George is cooking, he's going to let the man be a chef.
Mhm. What about you, Hans?
Uh,
Your pick?
Luca gets the buckets for Mavs, and if Mavs win the series, Luca would be the guy.
Yeah, Luca is an easy MVP fit for any series that he's in because
Yeah.
he's going to rack up the numbers. To be honest, so same here for me. I think he's probably going to be the dominant reason why the Mavericks win as well. So
Mhm.
pretty simple. I just think they have had a better cohesion. They didn't show it in the first game, but they have had a better cohesion over the last couple of games compared to the Clippers. I think Luca think is I think that Luca has a proven mentality this year, having been, not being in the playoffs last year, and want to
Yeah.
elevate his status as a player uh, overall. But that is the last thing on the agenda for the day. I don't know if you guys have anything else that you want to say quickly about any other
Yeah,
sport.
man. I was watching F1 over the weekend, and even though it ended as most people would bet for Max to win, there was some highlights that was pretty cool. You saw Zhou Guanyu getting a massive ovation from the Chinese crowd, which is cool to see. First Chinese driver to be in F1, and
Yeah,
first
his
Asian,
tears and all.
yeah, to be driving in Shanghai at a track that he grew up watching races at. That was pretty cool to see. They even had a little banner for him to park on track alongside the top three. But outside of that, though, coming in to the weekend or looking at the weekend, we saw Max not getting a pole for the sprint race. It
Ring
was
race, which
wet.
was
Lando Norris put in a belter over a second faster than the rest of the guys, and then lost it in the first lap. Thought he could have been a little bit more patient, but he wound it up deep down in the park. He still got some points, but he was in a position where he didn't need to be, in my opinion, and he just couldn't
yeah,
make any end roads, and he couldn't catch the Ferraris ahead, which was pretty interesting because in the Sunday race in the Grand Prix, Ferraris couldn't catch him. So that was interesting to watch. Uh
I guess
Fernando,
the weather made a big difference, man, on that on this weekend.
uh
I would say
I mean,
relatively so. Well,
yes
let me
and
say
no,
for the sprint half of the weekend, because the qualifying for the sprint was in rain. The actual
yeah.
sprint race there was rainy as well. So
No,
the
sprint was pretty
no,
dry
yeah,
actually.
correct,
The
correct,
sprint
yeah, it
was
was true.
dry, but
Um,
I think what was different was that the track wasn't as rubbered in as on
mhm,
the day of the sprint race.
yeah,
But outside of that, though, I think the pace difference between the Ferraris and the McLarens still changed. To say that the conditions was the main factor is crazy to me because
mm,
Ferrari had no chance with Lando on the Sunday, and Lando had no chance with the Ferraris on sprint day. So that's pretty interesting. That's something I probably got to look up to see if there are any talking points, expert talking points on that. But that was cool to see. We saw some fights with Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll being the villain of the weekend. Some fights between Lance Stroll and Kevin Magnussen at the back of the pack. Making sure that main one come last. So that was also interesting to see. Um, Ricardo outperforming Yuki for the night. I mean, for
for
the
the first time.
weekend. Yuki struggled couldn't figure out what it was, but I guess is a weekend to forget. We will see if this was an outlier or not. But both of them still didn't finish the race, the Grand Prix, which was disappointing because there was some contact between both of them. One from Kevin Magnussen against Yuki, and the other, I can't remember who hit Daniel Ricciardo, but basically just lift the entire car up in the air and damage the floor. So he plummet down to the back early. But yeah, outside of that, Alonso had a good showing. Lewis Hamilton coming second in the sprint race, but then not really doing that much for the Grand Prix. He did make up a lot of positions though with a car that isn't the best. But outside of that, Max is a winner. Just want to say that Max is on a different level because Perez couldn't catch Lando Norris. So it's not just the car, it's a combination of the car and the driver at this point. So I certain for sure that Rebel don't necessarily have a car that's crazy outside of the other cars. I just know that Max on a different level. that's all I could say because Sergio Perez struggling to get 1-2s at this point. In certain regards. Not many races when Matt's out the race and that kind of stuff. It's Matt's. I convince it's Matt's. So that's all I need to say about F1. And we got Miami coming up in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So
all right, well, we'll be gearing up for that one.
That's for sure.
A quick shout out to Ryan Garcia for that fight. I can't remember the name of the guy that he fought. I don't know if you guys watch any of the boxing stuff. I've been going on.
I used to, but I slack off. I need to get back on it because it's got some nice highlights from boxing that I like to see.
I think it was
some body shot knockouts and stuff.
I think it was Devin Haney or Devin Haney.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, Haney,
that's a big
Haney,
fight.
I
got it. Yeah, Devin Haney. Yeah. That's a big fight.
You want on top of that one? Yeah,
I wish I could.
Those and stuff. You know, I'm a big boxing fan, but just take a look at it. Take a look at it. I did follow Ryan Garcia a little bit, so I am aware of him specifically. So I just yeah, boy,
speedy
has a speed. So yeah, I'm on top. So shout out to him for a big victory. But yeah, that's all on the
just disappointed. Just disappointed that he couldn't get the belt because if I'm not mistaken, he weighed in 3 pounds. Yeah, he weighed in too heavy, and that's I don't know that.
Come on, you can't be making them kind of mistakes at this level, buddy.
To win the fight and can't get the belt is crazy. That's like I don't know. That's just, I guess it's a payday at any day, but it's crazy to me.
But what was interesting? Yeah, what was very interesting about that though is that yes, so there's usually a period of time where the fighters were waiting for the fight. I think it's either the night before or something like that. They were officially waiting for the fight, and then you will fight. So in between that time, if you're struggling to make weight, you can do a lot of things to get your weight down. Do a stop by.
He could have gone. He could have gone a treadmill. He could have done some words. It was only 3 pounds.
Hey, 3 pounds is a lot, boy.
But now for these guys, for these guys can lose all weight and put on weight quickly like that.
That's the issue. So if you're coming down in weight, I use like if you're going to fight in a weight class below your normal walking weight or fit weight, it's going to be hard for you to make that weight. And usually around that time is when you got to do everything possible to make the official weight, because then you could always put on the weight between that night and the fight. Like you could always eat again, not gonna weigh you officially, right? So there's a window that you could put back on the weight that you had. So I just found it interesting that happened, like that mistake or whatever you want to call it happened at that level, because like you said, that's a belt fight, and to have to go and do that again, no, you know, he can come back swinging. So,
okay.
But the reason though, I just want to say the reason I eased off of boxing was because it took forever for some big fights to happen, and I was just annoyed by the fact that these fighters finding it so difficult to make fights. Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford was one of them. Waiting forever. So, but anyways, I digress.
Anyway,
It's good to see that these fights
yeah.
happening. So I might get back on it.
All right. I think that's a wrap for the guys, though. For all the people on the stream right now, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button,
Big up
subscribe to the
yourself.
channel if you haven't already subscribed. Follow us on
Sure.
Instagram. Check us out on Spotify if you want to get the audio only versions of the podcast. Those should be up shortly after the live stream. So again, thanks for tuning in and have a good night. Hastrobros out.
Same to you, my G. Yeah, peace.